said he used in this incident yesterday. And so that's the short answer is because it's easy to get a gun in this country if you have mental illness or not.
No, I got to tell you, Milo, it takes a lot of chutzpah to believe that you can go into the Navy Yard where so many people are armed, tight security, and he had to scale that place, and he knew there were weak points. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it, and he did it, and he carried it out.
Mm-hmm.
This was planned.
You know something, Armstrong? Every time we have one of these shootings, the moral outrage is heard throughout the airwaves and on every television screen, and we all talk about the same thing. You know, how could this happen? Is the problem guns? The problem is not guns.
No.
The problem is mental health. The problem is the appropriate application of gun control. You know, I don't have a problem with appropriate gun control, but this unilateral, emotional response that we have to gun violence is unwarranted. I mean, this was the case of somebody who was visibly and well documented, historically troubled, and this person should not have had a gun. And a 3-day waiting period, an appropriate implementation of a 3-day waiting period may have caught that if we weren't so PC worrying about whether or not somebody's civil liberties are compromised because the mental illness can't be made public. Somebody who's got a known mental illness should not have access to a firearm. I just saw.
Well, I got to tell you that I knew those are the types of restrictions that the NRA and the gun lobbies have fought against for years and years. Whether it's waiting periods or mental health checks or what have you, they've been the first groups to say no to those things and are part of the reason why.
That's problematic, Reid. I mean, that's problematic, and I accept that that's a problem. You know, I've been a licensed concealed carry holder for 20 plus years, and I'll leave my house without my Amex before I'll leave without my weapon. But at the same token, I am a responsible citizen. I have no mental health issues. I train regularly with my firearm, and we have greater control over motor vehicle use than we do over firearms in this country. And I am not an advocate of unilateral gun control, but I recognize there is a real need for practical, responsible gun control. And
and that certainly doesn't put you in line with the gun lobby that has sway over Congress and in a lot of state legislatures.
You know what? Not only do I support the NRA, I give them money. I'm actually in line with the NRA, and I don't care if you had the tightest gun laws, most restrictive, all the things that you're saying that the NRA advocates against. The bottom line is that if all those laws are in place, whether it's Columbine, whether it's Aurora, whether it's Newtown, you're not going to stop it. So I'm trying to understand the point.
Well, that's right, and that's another real paradox of the whole gun control discussion is that it takes incidents like the Navy Yard yesterday and Columbine and Newtown and Aurora, Colorado, and Oak Creek, Wisconsin last year to bring this topic into the news where people will be talking about it and debating it. But none of the laws that are being proposed would have stopped incidents like these.
No, it would not. The problem is, listen, I'm going to introduce something different here. I actually have met sick people, okay? Let me tell you, I met them. And I'll never forget an incident a few years ago. I mean, I was around this person. His energy was so negative that it was almost frightening to feel. It was almost like a wave was coming from this person. So, I said, let me sit and talk to this person a minute. And, you could tell they bristled and they were distrusting, but I kept talking and talking and talking. I finally got the person to laugh and laugh and laugh. And I finally told this person, I said, look, I didn't even know this guy. I said, it's my number. You need somebody to talk. I talked to this guy about a few weeks later, and he said he was about to do something really bad. And just the fact that I engaged him and talked to him, and you know what? I even asked this guy what he was about to do bad, because I believe he was about to do something bad because he looked crazy. Sometimes what it takes for us, of all these things that we talk about, is sometimes we're so busy in our lives that we forget to smile and laugh and talk to people, engage people, especially when you think people are hurting and something is wrong. We feel it's none of our business. But sometimes what we have to do is engage these people. People feel disgruntled. They feel disrespected. They feel like people don't appreciate them. And while the three of us may be strong and pretty secure, we don't feel that way. But sometimes what it just takes is for us as a society to reach out more, because I think the best weapon for us is sometimes to reach out to these people and make them feel as though that somebody cares sometimes. I think that sometimes is our only and best weapon.
Yeah, well, and certainly it doesn't sound like this Aaron Alexis character was terribly integrated into functional society. It sounds like somebody who had moved a bunch of places around the country on his own. His family was in New York. That some of his friends in Texas had told news outlets that he was disenchanted with the country, and so we don't really know a whole lot about him or sort of who his associates were, and and he may not have had very many, and that's all part of this picture.
Yeah, Logan, Milo, they become isolated, they become alone, and then they get into this dark place, and it's just tough to bring them out of it. I'll never forget what happened at Virginia Tech. There were all kinds of signs, but nobody, and sometimes you laugh at them, you think it's funny, you call them crazy, but you don't really believe that their actions could lead to massacre.
Well, I don't think
right.
we ever...
Well, and most folks don't necessarily don't anticipate that somebody who they know is going to do something like this.
Listen, let me tell you, Reid, I believe many people I know are capable of it. Let me just put it like that, okay? Listen, we have seen, you work in this business, you've seen a lot. And let me tell you something. There are a lot of depressed people that just takes very little to push them over the edge, who are angry and they want to take it out on somebody. Milo, what you were about to say?
No, I think that, again, we continue to talk about these things. There is no way to cover all the bases. There is no such thing as a universally safe environment. And that's not to say that we don't want to implement controls and monitoring to help protect the public interest. But there has to be a responsible balance between regulation, the implementation of said regulation, and the respect for the individual's right to protect themselves. This person was sick. This isn't a gun debate. This is a mental health discussion.
Yes.
And this is what can we do to identify and assist these people so that we protect others from the influences of their illness.
Reid?
Yes.
What can we do? What else is it that we're not doing that we should be doing?
Well, under the laws that we have now, there's not a whole lot that can be done. There certainly are. There was a debate this spring over making it tougher to closing some of these loopholes and on background checks and toughening some of the mental health restrictions. That clearly didn't happen, and if that comes back, there may be sort of another debate on just the mental health aspect of it. It seems from here terribly unlikely that something like that would gain enough traction to get to a vote in the Senate, or even in the House would be a much longer shot, given what gun control politics looks like in Washington. And sort of short of sort of tightening the laws and making it tougher for people to buy guns, and particularly people with documented mental illnesses, I'm not quite sure what there is to be done.
The one thing that we're not acknowledging here is that there are many attempts at this kind of behavior that was exhibited yesterday. And, I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were up. Reid Epstein, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Politico. All right, thank you. We'll be back.
Hi, Mike Reagan here. The president has just delayed his Obamacare employee mandate for 1 year. But nothing has changed. The Congressional Budget Office still predicts 7 million Americans will lose their current insurance, and thousands of rules are being implemented today. Obamacare is over 20,000 pages, almost 3 times longer than the whole IRS tax code. Worse, the IRS is now in charge of enforcing the law. You need to protect yourself, your family, and your business with the easy-to-read guide. It's called the Obamacare Survival Guide, already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax calls it the best guide to the new law. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide today at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
1-866-620-6620. What I was going to say, Milo and Alex, is that for the most part, 95 or 99% of the time, these people don't succeed. It's thwarted. Law enforcement don't always report the number of attempts. And yet you're going to always have those who are able to get through. It's interesting if you were to do a deeper look into where are they able to succeed. In theaters, where there's really no security. In schools, where you do have security. And then the Navy Yard, where it's nothing but security. So it's not as if these people are selecting places that gives them the best chance of succeeding, which goes to show you that their sickness allows them to feel as though they're invincible at the time and they're going to get away with it. At least they're going to kill a greater number of people before someone kills them, because you've got to think that if you're going in shooting, that eventually somebody's going to shoot back. Right, Milo?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so obviously they have convinced...
And some of these perps actually think about it.
And they want to die. Because they're miserable,
yes,
and this is how they want to go out.
Some of these, the perpetrators of these crimes, actually think about where they're going to execute their intended crime, because of the lack of ability to defend. I don't remember you guys remember Colin Ferguson, the Long Island Railroad shooter.
Yes, we remember him. Yes.
He was asked why he went all the way from uptown in Harlem and got on the Long Island Railroad, and he said because he knew that on the J train he wouldn't have gotten the second round off.
But you know what? You know that what people should be able. I think there should be some kind of ruling where people should be able to come out and say, I am going to snap one day and I'm going to kill masses of people and I want to die. And I think the state should allow them to just die if this is the behavior they want to engage in. So when I know it sounds crazy. I know it's not going to happen, but at least if people, I think because people are so sick that they will admit the fact that they're willing to massacre people. But I know our laws say you're innocent until proven guilty, so nothing can happen until you kill somebody. But there's got to be a way, just like what you just said about Colin Ferguson. I mean, look, they really put a lot of thought into this, and their goal is to kill people for no reason at all.
Well, I think the error in your thinking, Armstrong, is
and there is some error. I know there's some error. I know, but tell me anyhow.
There is a reason. The reason may not make sense to us, but
yes.
Most of these people have a reason for what they're doing. And, they're troubled.
It's scary, isn't it? You know what? I know I'm going to sound crazy. Would I want to be in a situation like that rather than somebody who's not prepared for it if I had to confront it? You know what? I'm a little crazy too, but in a different way. Look, I just think that when people are willing to pull out a gun and just kill somebody for no reason at all, then whatever happens to you should happen to you in the worst kind of way. I think the only way that these sick people don't go in these places, well, it still is not a good argument because they went into the Navy Yard knowing that the people are armed. So obviously they didn't care about it. In fact, they wanted to go out of the place. They wanted gunfire. They wanted to get back and forth because, after all, he was formerly in the Navy. So obviously these are the circumstances that he wanted to go out on. And listen, Milo, here's the other thing. He had not worked there that long.
Yeah.
At all.
Recently transferred.
The other thing I think was pretty clear was that he knew what the risks were.
Yes. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you, he was not there that long. In fact, my attitude is that he was not there long enough to be slighted. I don't think it had to do with anything about him being a disgruntled employee. I think the fact of what happened with the gun shooting up in the ceiling and his neighbor, shooting at the tire because he had anger rage, goes to show this is something that he wanted to do. It had nothing to do with being disgruntled. This is what he wanted to carry out. This was his ambition.
Mm-hmm. So shift gears for a second, if I might. What do you think, of Zimmerman? Shouldn't somebody like Zimmerman now have his right to carry vacated and his weapon taken away from him?
Yeah, Zimmerman should be put away for life. If you ask me, yes, I agree with you. That's only the starter, though. Yes, because he's gonna harm someone. Mm-hmm. He should not be allowed to carry that firearm. I don't understand it, Milo. It doesn't make any sense. It must be the Florida laws.
With the amount of stress that he's gone under through the whole trial process, I'd consider him a risk to have a firearm license because he would probably snap as well and go shoot.
Listen, he punched his father-in-law in the nose.
That's a sure sign of the direction that he's heading in.
Look, don't help us understand. I don't get it.
I don't. The Zimmerman case, I don't get either. That is quite the source of puzzlement for me. But what's clear is that he's out of control.
He is out of control. But let me tell you this now. Let me tell you this. As much as these demented and crazy people run around shooting people, let me tell you, sometimes you can go into the wrong house, the wrong neighborhood, or the wrong facility because there's somebody that's just as crazy as you are, and they will take you out.
Yep. Rightfully so.
Yes, there's a lot of anger being built up over what's going on. If you could think you could bad enough to go in and just kill people for no reason at all, let me tell you, there's something waiting on you. And Zimmerman better be very cautious about who he decides to beef with, okay? Because the bar for shooting and killing him is very small.
And there are a lot of angry people looking for him, too, as well.
I have the firm belief that, there is the natural order of things and there is natural balance. And Zimmerman will ultimately be caught up with in the same manner that O.J. was ultimately caught up with.
Yes. You know, I don't know if you heard this story, but a Facebook user killed a man for commenting on his girlfriend pictures. What's the world coming to?
That's outrageous. That's outrageous. That's utterly outrageous for a comment on his girlfriend's picture. Did he any more details to that?
Do you need any more?
I mean, were they involved in any way?
They know each other. He just commented. The guy tracked them down. What's the lesson there, Milo? Stay off social media?
I don't think that was an issue of social media. It's an issue of a whack job who, was out of control.
And he killed the guy.
Yeah.
Imagine what he does to his girlfriend, though. He beats her.
In high probability.
Yes, very high. She's probably miserable. According to reports, a 20-year-old man named Antoine Cortez Martin was arrested in Oklahoma City for killing a Facebook user who commented on his girlfriend's profile picture. So what was the comment that cost the 48-year-old Edmund James Tyree his life? News Oklahoma reports he wrote DAMM on the photo of Martin's girlfriend wearing a bikini. That's all he wrote. This is a perfect example of some of the ridiculous reasons people kill for, the Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater said. He only killed him because he wrote under the photo, in quotes, DAMM, and the guy killed him.
I don't even know what that means.
You know what? It's too much. Alex probably knows what it means, but you and I don't know what it means. It's just way over our pay grade.
Well, I mean, that's an actual word, but just the fact that he went out and he killed him over such a simple 4-letter comment on a picture of a girl's bikini is absurd. This man was obviously very troubled.
Controlling. So Milo, what else is going on in the world besides the Navy Yard?
Yeah. So let's see. We've got Syria. We've got the Navy Yard. We've got genocide going on in Africa. We have economic and political unrest in our country. We have a president of the second most powerful military in the world who's basically a gangster. I'd say things are pretty much status quo.
Yeah.
I'm reading a report the other day. I got to share this with you. Vladimir Putin apparently has a net worth somewhere between 20 and 40 billion. Billion with a B. How could the president of a nation accumulate that type of wealth without rampant questions being asked and investigations being implemented? I just don't get it.
But you already know how.
Yeah. So, I mean, at this
point... You think President Obama could be worth $20 billion and it would not be an outcry?
Oh, they'd hang him up from a tree before the justice could even be served. It was ridiculous.
$20 to $40 billion?
Somewhere between $20 and $40 billion is Vladimir Putin's net worth.
Amazing.
And we've permitted this guy to be on the global stage and make us look bad.
No, Obama makes him look good. Yeah. Tell the truth now. We're coming back. 1-866-620-6620. Milo Picnic, Alex Abbott Graham, Armstrong Williams. We'll be back to your calls.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the Armstrong Williams Show, and thank you so much for joining us. Milo, are we making any turn around the corner on this economy?
Not since the last time you asked, Armstrong. You know, the economy, I believe, is actually headed for another stall. I think we're going to see significant fourth quarter interest rate increases, and I think we're going to see an equally significant retraction and contraction in the residential real estate market.
You know what's funny? You just reminded me of something. It is so unusual. Inflation and interest rates are increasing at the same time. How unusual is that?
Interesting, isn't it? Well, I think
it's shocking.
I think it's attributable to the fact that the current economy that we're living in is an artificial economy. It's not being driven by principles or regular factors. I think it's being artificially manipulated by the Fed and the marketplace.
Oh boy, you know what, Logan? I mean, I don't know why I want to call you Logan and call Logan Milo, but anyhow, you understand. Let me just tell you this: I have never, in my entire professional career, have known so many people that are struggling.
Yep. At all levels.
At all levels. At all levels. And you know what? You cannot say, if you're a human being with any kind of heart, that it doesn't affect you.
Of course not.
You just can't. And you know what? For guys like you and I, the people assume that we're not struggling, okay? Not like they are.
It's all relative.
It's all relative.
I'm struggling harder than I have struggled in 30 years. I'm still living better than the greater majority of Americans, but it doesn't negate the fact that the life experience I have today is not the life experience I had 5, 10, 15 years ago.
for some of us, just what we have to do to maintain our businesses, to make sure our employees who have been with us for such a long time are paid, is just incredible. And listen, I don't know if you will agree. If we did not have employees, our trajectory would be different. We'd have a whole different outlook on our businesses. 'Cause, look, it doesn't I know people are going to find this surprising. It doesn't take much for entrepreneurs who are real entrepreneurs to survive. What is funny, and I don't always understand it, is the people that don't always have much, who it takes much more for them to survive. Why is that? Help me understand that riddle.
Well, I think that I can only speak from my own experience. As an entrepreneur, I recognize that my economic position in life is going to ebb and flow, just like the tide, and I prepare for it. I don't live on, when I'm doing well, I live on 30 or 40% of my income, and so that in the times when I'm struggling, I have reserves to get me over the hump. And I think that we as entrepreneurs, we never really live at the maximum of our potential. We're always fundamentally conservative because we have an acute understanding that, it's cyclical.
It does not take much for me to live. I know how to get the most out of a meal. I know how to get the most out of, I just know how to get them, because everything for me is a business, whether it's taking care of my house, my clothes in the cleaners, or cleaning the house, taking care of vehicles. You won't find you and I driving the most expensive vehicle in the world. I drive a truck. That's all I need. I don't care what you drive. They all do the same thing.
I have a 2004 Thunderbird.
Thank you. And they all do the same thing. Some people feel they need to have a Mercedes and these fancy cars, but they all do the same thing. And people say to me, why are you not? I said, look, all I need is a truck. It does the same thing. Mm-hmm. Why do I need that? Why do I need that expense? And I mean, we can afford it. But I don't know what next week's going to bring. As business people, we never take the future of our economic tide for granted because we just don't know, because we've seen so much over the course of our business lives. Anything can change. But for people, it takes so much for people who have less to live. Sometimes I walk out my building and I see every day there are 3-4 boxes at this neighbor's door from the Home Shopping Network. And I said, oh my goodness, what is going on? People are shopaholics. They're addicted to certain things that they must have. They have to eat at these fancy restaurants to feel good about themselves, and they brag about it. Listen, all I want to do is just live. It doesn't take much for me to live.
No, but something, Armstrong? There's some simple things that people can implement to change their economic standing. Take a person making $45,000, $50,000 a year. I think that's the national average today. That person goes to Starbucks 3 days a week and spends $3 to $7 on a cup of coffee. They eat out to lunch. I go to the supermarket with my wife on Sunday. It's almost a date. We go to the supermarket. We shop. Sunday afternoon, we prepare food. I put it in the freezer, and I bring my lunch to work with me.
Yes.
I buy a half gallon of orange juice or lemonade. I don't go across the street and get a Coke. Yes.
Look, people just feel they have to have certain things that they really just don't need. Alex, you're listening to this. What are your comments? Because listen, join the conversation. Get to the mic, man. Get to the mic. Speak up.
Well, I guess it depends on how much you really know on balancing finances, because to other people, they love that cup of Starbucks every morning. They feel that every morning that gives them enough energy to go out throughout the business day or until lunch when they have to go out and buy a sandwich from their favorite deli. And they're not conscious of the fact that that's $10 a day for 5 days a week, which equates to $50 a week that they're spending on food that they don't necessarily have to even buy because they know that they have a full fridge at home. So people go, I guess, they make the choice to really go out of their ways and live outside of their means just for the comforts that they are accustomed to having.
I think it's television. I think it's what people watch. I think they can't. They're not comfortable with themselves. They want to live like somebody else. Go ahead, Bill Milo.
I think that comfort is an expensive luxury, and I would hardly say I live in an uncomfortable lifestyle, but I've always felt that I don't see the merit, and it's interesting because I was raised. My father was a successful physician. My wife's family upbringing was very different. My wife grew up in the tenements in the Bronx. I grew up in a state on the North Shore of Long Island. Yet, if I give her $100 on Monday, it's gone by Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning at the latest. I can put $100 in my pocket on Monday and still have 60 in my pocket on Friday. So the psychology is such that I just have a heightened sensitivity to what is involved in the production of that dollar, and I'm not inclined to spend it haphazardly. And I think it's a simple discipline that anybody can learn, regardless of socioeconomic background or even educational background. It's simply a matter of deciding I'm going to develop the discipline to control my spending.
But you know what's something else that we have in common? I have never, ever been insecure about how I'm going to live or whether I'm going to survive. Because for me, I have never had any kind of challenge of making a living, making a little extra. And I've not taken a salary for my business in almost 10 years. And sometimes when I hear somebody says that they're making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, to me that's a lot of money. That's a good salary. Can I live off $40,000 to $50,000 a year? Yeah, I can live off of it. I could take $40,000 to $50,000 a year and do well. So when people say I want to make $40,000 or $50,000 a year, look, when I started with the government, Milo, when I started working at the United States Department of Agriculture, they were paying me $11,000 a year. The highest salary I ever made when I was in the government in the private sector was $32,000 a year. The highest. Okay?
There you go.
The
highest.
And if you know how to budget that well, that's all you really need. A lot of people go out their means and they like to have the comforts. They like to have the fancy stuff, and it's not especially if you can't afford it, it's not necessary.
Look, when all you have ever known is a $30,000 salary, I don't care how much further along I am in my career, that's what I had to live on. So when someone says 50 or 60, and I know times have changed, things are more expensive, but I know how to manage my costs and I know how to cut. But listen, I've gone from $11,000 to $32,000 when I was working in the private sector in the government. And I did well on that money. Mm-hmm. I had money left over.
It's simple planning. It's making a budget. If you make a budget and you stick to it, you'll be able to save more money to spend later on more important things that you feel you need, or maybe even a few wants that you want, instead of just blowing your paycheck whenever your pay period is, every 2 weeks, let's say.
You're right. People waste a lot of money, a lot of resources. Absolutely, they do.
Having said all that, though, because if we are suggesting to people that they can save their way out of
No. I'm just saying they can just live better and not be as stressed. That's all I'm saying. Okay. That's all I'm saying. We're out of time, guys. Milo, Alex, call us. Sorry we didn't get to you. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.